Okay, so I'm going to be showing how to replace the keyboard on this Dell XPS 15 7590. Right, so first thing we're going to need is a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. We'll also need a PH1 or JS1. Alright, so let's go get that. Right, so I'm going to first remove the PH1 or JS1 screws that are underneath this little cover here. So just flip this flap up just like this, and then let's go ahead and remove these two screws. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put the flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. Okay, so just like that. So you got two there. And usually I'll do them in rows, so you can see there's like 3 rows. So we'll go like that, that, and then that. Alright. So that's very important. If you mix them up, you can damage your computer, so keep that in mind. Alright, let's go ahead and remove all these T5 or Torx 5 screws as well. Okay. If this video helps you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to upgrade and repair their devices. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Alright. If you're following along with this video, make sure that you watch through the entire thing. A lot of people like to just skip around to parts and then they skip very important steps and end up damaging their computer. So it's very important that you don't skip around. Make sure to follow along so that way if there's any instructions or things that I mention, you'll be able to follow that and prevent damaging your computer. Okay? Alright, looks like they put some thread locker on these because these screws are quite a bit difficult to remove. Alright, they actually put some red thread locker. Alright, anyways, now that we got all the screws out, we're going to pop this bottom cover off. Sometimes it helps to use a suction cup, so let's go ahead and try that. Okay, that's not going to work, so I'm going to do it the usual way. So what I do is I lift up the computer like this, okay? I actually cut my fingernails now, so it's going to be a little more difficult. But usually what I'll do is I'll get my fingernails in the gap here. You can use plastic pry tools, and then what I do is I push on the palm rest area as I kind of pull out with my fingernails. As you can see, you don't want to push on the trackpad, so I'm going to skip over that side and we're going to continue over to the other. Oh man, my right fingernails are not good now. Okay, so let's go ahead and go along. This one we might actually have to pull up from the back because it doesn't seem to want to come up from there. So let's give that a shot. Okay, some of that is coming up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and work our way over. Okay, now that we got the back up, what we're going to do, I'm going to slide my fingernail down here as I lift this. Again, you can just use plastic pry tools. Okay, so just like that. Let's rotate this so it's easier to see and work on. Okay, so just like this. Wow, this cover is actually pretty strong. Okay, let's see if flexing it a little helps. Sometimes pulling up the middle and then pushing down the sides will help pull the clips inwards, as you can see. Okay, so this whole side actually came up already. Let's go ahead and do this on this side. Okay, flexing it inwards, and there we go. Okay, there we go. So now we can flip this up, kind of wiggle this, and there we go. We got the bottom cover off. Okay, these like foam. Oh, there's like plastic bits. Uh-oh, this stuff came off. So I don't know how that came off. I think I rotated it too much. You want to kind of like slide it out that way. But there we go. Okay, so we got the bottom cover off now. It's really dusty in here, so I am going to clean that up. The way I do that is I use a toothbrush to kind of get this dust off, and then I use an air blower to blow all this dust out. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, so I'm back. All right, here we go. Cleaned it out. Cleaned out the fans. They're a lot cleaner now. Okay, so let me actually open up the keyboard and take a look. There we go. All right, give me a second. Alright, so I'm going to open up the replacement keyboard here. And let me show you what it looks like. So we got this. Put a lot of foam in here, anti-static bag. Okay. Alright, so the keyboard looks like this. Right, you can see there's all these little holes in the back of the keyboard, and that's what holds it in place. I'm gonna have to open it up and take a look to see if it's screws holding it in place or if it's melted plastic. Hopefully it's screws, because the melted plastic is a lot more work to replace. So anyways, there you go. This one was a little bit bent. I was bending that back. Okay, so let's go ahead now and disassemble this thing. So there's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD right here. Okay, I believe to remove all the internal components, we're going to be using the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is remove the battery. On some models, they'll use a shorter battery here, and then they can actually fit a hard drive here. You can see there's this connector here. That's a push connector for a standard 2.5-inch SATA drive. You can also put a 2.5-inch SATA SSD. All right. So anyways, again, we're going to take all these screws out, but we're going to put them in the pattern we remove them so that we can easily remember where they came from. Okay, again, you don't want to mix up the screws. They are different size, shape, and lengths, and if you mix them up, you can damage your computer. Okay. Alright. Alright, so we have 4 at the bottom, and then it looks like just 3 at the top. Okay, they have little arrows that actually point to where it is, and then they have the screw measurements. It's a M2 by 4, so it's 2 millimeters wide and 4 millimeters long. Alright, so now that we got all those screws out, we can go ahead and lift the battery up just like this. Okay, we're going to carefully pull it back, swing it out a little so that we can actually get access to the connector here. And then what I do is I kind of just wiggle the connector to pull it out. If you're replacing the battery, make sure you put it back the right way. Red cables are going that way, and the black cables are going towards the outside. Battery model numbers right here, 6GTPY. All right. Hopefully you can see that, 6GTPY. Okay, we'll set the battery aside. It's a little dusty, so you want to clean it off. If your battery is inflated, this one looks okay, all right? But if it's like bulging out, then you'll want to replace it. Okay, so next thing, what is this? Okay, so we're going to take that out. Okay, we're going to have to be disconnecting everything, but anyways, let's go ahead and show the M.2 SSD here. So there's one screw. I'm going to leave this one on the motherboard once I put it back, because we don't need to remove that. Okay, so one screw, it pops up slightly like that. You can go ahead and pull this back, and yeah, this is an M.2 PCIe NVMe. They actually will show it here. It's an NVMe Samsung, but these these SSDs, the ones that come with the laptop, usually aren't too good. So I would recommend putting an aftermarket one, but otherwise you probably want to just make sure to keep a good backup of your computer just in case. Alright, so that's the M.2 SSD. The RAM is here. There's 2 sticks. Just pull the 2 tabs to the side. It pops up like that. Then you can go ahead and pull this out. Here you can see it's a 16 gig stick, PC4 2666V. I don't think they have any larger than 16 gigs right now, but you can put any PC4 2666V RAM in here. Right? It says DDR4, so possibly you can put any DDR4 laptop memory. But that's not guaranteed. Oh, I have a customer here, so I will be back. Right, sorry about that. So anyways, we got the RAM out. Okay, the wireless card basically comes up the same way. I'm not going to remove the wireless antennas because sometimes the soldering is not good on it. So I don't want to risk damaging the wireless card. Usually it will come out okay, but just to be safe, I don't want to mess around with it. Okay? So if you want to see how to remove the wireless antennas, I have a lot of videos where I do that on a lot of different models where the antennas need to be removed, so you can watch those. Okay, so let's go ahead and start disassembling things. I'm going to zoom in a bit so I can show you close up. Okay, so we're going to disconnect the trackpad or touchpad cable here. You just flip this latch up. Once you do that, you can actually pull this cable out. Okay. You have this other cable here. This is actually going into this for the lights up here. Okay, I believe that's also for the microphones. These two are the microphones. Okay, and then you got the keyboard connecting into here and the keyboard backlight connecting into there. All right, so we only need to disconnect this cable. So same thing, flip that latch up, and then we can pull this cable back just like that. Okay, let's see, what else do we got to remove? Let's go ahead and remove the wireless card. Again, I'm just going to leave the antennas in, but we'll undo this. You want to hold this little metal tab so it's not spinning all over the place. Okay, take that out. We'll set this aside. One thing you want to do, I should probably mention this so people don't mess up their computers if they're kind of clumsy or drop anything on it. But after removing the battery, it's always a good idea to open up the computer and then press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. All right, hopefully you didn't mess anything up in the middle. The most important time to do this is when you're undoing the LCD or LVDS connector, okay? Because that one, the capacitors and things like that store a lot more energy, and then that can actually fry the components if you short anything out. But anyways, let's go ahead and pull this wireless card out. Again, it pops up just like the RAM and the SSD. Then you can go ahead and wiggle this and pull it back. Sorry, I'm getting a bad angle for pulling this out. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Again, I'm just going to leave that connected just in case. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and actually disconnect the fan connector. Let me zoom in a bit here. Okay, so we got the fan connector. I just used my fingernails and kind of just wiggle this. Okay, you can use whatever you want, plastic pry tools, tweezers. Okay, and there you go, it pops out. They have all these extra little connectors here. I'm not sure what they're for. IR, so some infrared, TS, maybe touchscreen. But yeah, and then they have this little tiny connector here we're gonna have to disconnect as well. So flip that latch up. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to get to that. I think that might be the power button connector. Anyways, let's go ahead and undo these two screws for the fan. Again, you wanna keep all these screws in order. There are a lot of them, so yep, keep that in mind. All right, got another screw over here. Okay, I'm gonna have to move some stuff around. Hopefully, let's see if we can pop this up. Okay, so the fan design is very nice. You can actually pop this out without taking the whole motherboard out. There's only two screws, and now I can actually clean this a lot better. I used a powerful air blower, and that wasn't enough. There's still a lot of dust trapped under here. So it's good that they designed it that way. Okay, I'm gonna have to probably blow it out again now that the fan is removed. But I'm gonna just use my brush to clean it out. Okay, because the air vents here do get like clogged up with dust. Okay, I think that worked, and I'll just use my handheld blower. Okay, that worked. Okay, let's continue removing components. So it looks like the keyboard is held in with screws. Very nice, so that's an easier design. All right, let's go ahead now and pop out this cable here. There we go. All right, then we got all the motherboard screws. Let's go ahead and remove that as well. Okay, we got one up there. They actually put little white arrows there pointing to where the motherboard screws were. I don't know if you can see this one too down here. There's a white arrow as well. Okay, so it helps you keep track of where the screws came from. But again, you do want a good method of putting the screws in a pattern to make it easier to remember where they came from. All right, we got another screw up here. All right, and we got another screw all the way over here. This one seems to be raised up slightly from the board. I don't know what that is. They put like a foam or something there. Okay. All right, let's see what else. Well, there's actually not as many screws as I thought, so it's not too bad. Let's go ahead and disconnect this fan. Same thing. You just kind of keep wiggling the connector, and eventually it will walk itself out. I don't know if you can see, but the way the connector is plugged in, the top side of that is flat, and this one also. They actually mark it with a red dot, but if you get a replacement fan, you want to be careful because sometimes they will ship it with this side of the connector like up, like this is twisted. So this could sometimes be twisted this way instead of that way. And you want to be careful because if you plug it in upside down, you can fry the fans, okay? So anyways, we got that fan connector out. The screws are somewhat blocked, so we are going to have to remove this stuff first. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove these two screws holding this metal plate over the LCD or LVDS connector. All right, so we got that one screw out. There's one more here. Okay, so we got those two screws out. Now we can go ahead and lift this metal plate out of the way. Okay, all right, this little connector seems to be on a separate board, so we probably don't need to remove that. Some dust and hairs under there. We're gonna leave this connector here for now. This is actually the speaker connector, and that kind you kind of just pull it up. All right, but again, I'm gonna leave that for now. Let's see here. LCD LVDS connector is right here underneath that metal cover that we just removed. So we're gonna go ahead and lift this plastic tab up. All right, it was stuck down a little bit. And then we're going to use that to pull this connector up. So you just get underneath and you just pull this up just like that. Sometimes it will be difficult and then you kind of have to help pry it from the side over here or something, but that one came out not too bad. All right, we're going to unroute this cable now from under the fan. It's trapped under there, so actually we're going to have to remove this screw before we can pull that out. Okay. Uh-oh. Does the customer strip this screw out? Wow, this screw is badly stripped out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remove that. Let's see. I will give it my best. I might have to use a tool to do that. Okay, I had to put a lot of pressure, but it looks like it came out. So I'm going to have to see if I have a replacement screw for this because I don't know if I want to keep using this screw. This one uses the thinner thread, so I don't know. Let me see if I have a replacement screw for that. And it's somewhat long, so I don't know if I have an exact replacement for that screw. Okay, I have a shorter one that might work, but we'll see. Okay, so let me see if this screw will actually even fit there. Kind of, but the threads are loose because it's short, so I might have to just try and stick with the screw that's there. Or actually, maybe this silver one will work. Okay, this silver one should work. Okay. Sorry, this is kind of unnecessary part of the video because you wouldn't need to know that. Well, maybe you'll wonder why the screw is silver instead of black. All right, so anyways, let's go ahead and remove this screw completely. Okay, so that's for the fan. So we'll put that there. Okay, let's go ahead and get this out. Okay, so now we can lift this up slightly and then we can get this cable out of the way. And actually, let's go ahead and pull the fan out completely if it comes out. Okay, so just lift this up and make sure that's disconnected. There we go. I don't know what's sticking to it a little bit. I think this adhesive was a little sticky, but anyways, there we go. Okay, clean out that dust as well. There's still some dust stuck here, so I'm gonna clean that out as well. Okay, it's kind of stuck to that foam pad. Okay, there we go, good enough. Let's go ahead now and use a toothbrush and clean it a bit better. Go. And then I'll use my air blower to get out the loose dust. Okay, so now we got that. Let's see, what else do we need to remove? So this is held on with an adhesive, so we're gonna have to peel that adhesive up. You want to be careful not to damage this cable, so I'm gonna slowly, carefully peel it up. Okay, you don't want to bend this cable too much. Right, there we go. We got that out of the way. It looks like this also goes over, oh, it doesn't go over the motherboard, it just goes over the charge connector. So I'm just gonna remove the charge port connector. So same thing, you just kind of wiggle it to walk it out. And then there we go. So I'm not going to take out this because sometimes this can be a little tricky. But if you want to remove this, usually what you do is you open the laptop 90 degrees, hang the screen over the edge of your desk with the keyboard on the desk. And then after that, you can remove all the hinge screws on both sides, or you might be able to do it with just one side, but to be safe, it's best to do both sides. And then after you do that, you can actually lift the screen out of this screen assembly, but you would have to remove this cable, and you would have to also undo the wireless antennas there. Okay, so I don't want to mess around with that. Sometimes you can get away with just doing this one side, and then if you lift it, the only thing is there's these posts here that are like permanent, they're part of this, and if you do it wrong, you can actually crack this piece off, so you want to be careful with that. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more screws holding the motherboard down. Let's go ahead and zoom out and see if we got them all. So this repair might be faster than I thought, but anyways, let's go ahead and slowly, carefully, it feels like it's actually held down with something, so you want to very carefully lift this up. You don't want to rush this. All right, there's like some foam or adhesive or something stuck, so we're just carefully, slowly lifting this. Okay, and then I kind of like pulled it back as I lifted, like lifting it by rotating it this way. Okay, I know it's hard to see, but oh, okay. So it looks like this speaker connector is actually coming up with the rest, so we are going to remove that. I'm gonna try doing that with my fingernails at the edges of the connector. Let me actually zoom in here. Let's see. I have too much stuff all over my desk, so I don't know if I'll get a good close-up, but I'll do the best I can. Okay. All right, so just like that, and then we're gonna do this. If you don't, if you can't do it this way, you can also use like this, some little pliers like that, and then you can just grab the edge of the connector and you kind of just wiggle it. But you will have to hold this part of this board down. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to use another tool to help hold that down. Okay, so I'm going to hold this down so it doesn't move around, and then I'm going to grab this. Oh wow, that's actually tough to grab, so yeah, I don't know about that. I'm gonna use my fingernails. I think it's safer. Okay, so let's try and grab that and just wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it. Let me try grabbing it from the side here. That might be better. Wow, this connector is actually pretty tough to remove. So I'm just wiggling it around as I pull it. And okay, there we go. It came out. So you just got to be patient and slowly, carefully just keep wiggling it, and eventually it will pop out. Here you can see the connector has the wires showing through on that side, so make sure you plug it in the same way. If you flip it over, you can damage the speakers. And the other side has the metal pins exposed. This side has the colorful wires exposed. So make sure you want the colorful wires going that way and the metal pins going this way. Okay, so there we go. We got that disconnected. Let's go ahead now and remove the motherboard or logic board. I don't know. It can either be called motherboard or logic board. Okay, so let's go ahead now and lift this out carefully. Okay, again, I'm kind of rotating it like that to slowly lift it. And then I'm going to grab from the middle, and you want to make sure all these cables are out of the way. The tricky part is putting this back. You want to be careful that nothing is trapped. So here you can see somebody actually stripped out this screw as well. So I don't know if somebody worked on this before, but this screw is stripped out here, and then this screw's okay. But it looks like the sound card or audio board is separate, so that's interesting. It's a bit dusty under here, so I'm going to clean that up as well. There's also a BIOS or CMOS battery underneath here, so keep that in mind. I don't know if that's a important model number there, so if you need to replace the BIOS battery, maybe that will help you. Okay, and here you can see the power button is actually integrated into the motherboard, and then this connector here is actually just for the fingerprint sensor. All right, so I'm going to clean this dust up and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So we cleaned all the dust off of there. Okay, so we're now going to just set this aside. There is, I think this is the motherboard model number if you need that. Okay, it's right there. I think it's the LA-H331P, but they do have other numbers there just in case you need it. Okay, so I'm going to set the motherboard aside here. Okay. Okay, so now we got that. Okay, let's see. So the way they have the keyboard here goes like this, and then they actually fold this part over. As you can see, it folds over and it meets with this line here. Oh, I'm getting another call. Give me a second. I'm going to answer some of these calls and messages. I'll be back in a bit. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. So we're going to now be removing the keyboard. So they put this plastic here. It looks like we can actually, let me see, can we access all the screws through these? There's some little flaps here. Let's see, so we got those two, that. Okay, so it looks like we can actually access the screws from under this because there's little flaps, but I don't know if I should actually transfer this thing over to the new keyboard. So if that's the case, I'm probably going to actually want to peel this off. But there are, I don't know if you can see those, there are little flaps that you can actually get underneath to undo the screws without actually having to peel up this piece here. So anyways, these are PH0 or JIS0 screws. So we are going to have to switch to a smaller screwdriver bit. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and just remove all these screws. Oh, don't forget to also disconnect the keyboard connector and the keyboard backlight connectors here. So flip those tabs up, and then you can go ahead and pull these cables out. All right. Okay, so get underneath this. I'm just using this little blue plastic tab to help pull that out. Okay, so just like that. Wow, this one's kind of stuck. There we go. Okay, so all right, there's no screws hidden under there, so let's go ahead now and start removing all of these. Again, I'm going to keep all these screws in order, even though they probably are the same size and everything for the keyboard. I like to put the same screw back where I got it, just in case. Sometimes they can be a little bit different, and that can cause some issues. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all these little screws out. It is a lot of little screws, so let's go ahead and zoom in. Okay, make sure you got enough downward pressure on it that you don't strip out the screws. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's see how I can lift these up, or if I should just peel this whole thing off. Yeah, I'm just going to peel this whole thing off. It seems like it comes up not too difficult. Okay, so I'm going to slowly, you want to slowly and carefully peel this. Actually, it looks like that adhesive isn't going to be reusable if I peel it off. Let's see, I might have to add some of my own double stick tape to this. Okay, so we're going to just peel this up. And you want to be careful when you get to these screw holes. Okay, this is also a sharp corner here, so if you peel it too fast, you could actually easily tear this. So you want to be careful. Hopefully I won't tear this and then make an example of it. So anyways, let's go ahead and keep peeling this out. Okay. Okay, so they have this wrapping around, so you want to be careful with that too. Okay, the reason why I'm peeling it this way is because if I peel it all from up here, we'll likely tear all these pieces out. So hopefully we'll be able to peel this without any of those getting torn, and hopefully this plastic will be reusable. See here, you can see, oh, this one goes the opposite way, so I have to be careful peeling that. Wow, these things are, this is going to be tough. Okay, you likely don't have to save this piece to transfer over, but sometimes it might be necessary because this is supposed to help prevent it from shorting anything on the motherboard. Okay, I'm going to get underneath this side. You can use whatever helps you. You can use some plastic pry tools or tweezers. I'm just gonna keep peeling it up this way because it seems to be working. Oh, they put one of the slits over sideways this way, so you want to be careful peeling this up. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna help peel this at the same time, again, so I don't tear that. There we go. Okay, let's pull this. All right, we gotta hold down the keyboard cable so that we can peel this off. Since the keyboard is broken, you don't really need to worry if your keyboard is working and you're just trying to take this out. I don't know what for, but if you are trying to take this out and your keyboard is fine, then you want to be very careful not to damage this cable. Okay. Let's cut it out. There we go. All right. I'm going to rotate this to make it a little bit easier. Almost there. Okay, you have to be, again, very careful with these slits where the screw holes are, because they cut it in ways that if you just peel this off, it will actually just tear this plastic membrane thing. Okay. Be very careful. Hopefully I don't tear any of it. Alright, we're almost there. Oh, this one is stuck down. Okay, so I'm not sure if that one, it doesn't seem to want to come, so we're gonna have to just be extra careful. Slowly peeling this stuff up. Yeah, these ones are like stuck there, so I don't know how I'm gonna get to that. I'll try. Let's see, so we got that. Let's go ahead and continue going sideways here and see if we can get that out without tearing it. I think it tore a tiny bit, but it's okay. Okay, this one I don't think I'll be able to do. Let me try with my little plastic tool here if I can lift this up. Yeah, that doesn't even want to lift off. The adhesive here is too strong. Let's see, let's try my plastic razor blade. I don't think that, can I get underneath there? Okay, I got underneath a little bit. Let's go ahead and try and peel that tab up. Oh, I can smell the glue from this. Alright, almost there. Okay, it's sticking back down on its own already. Okay. Got 2 more to go, so let's go ahead and try and get that up as well. Okay, same thing, I'm using my plastic razor blade to lift it. There we go. Alright, get my hand under there and peel that up. Okay, we're almost there. We got one more, so we're just going to slowly, carefully, and there we go. Okay, so we got this plastic out. Here you can see all these little things, so it's a little tricky. This one might have gotten torn a little. As you can see, it's a little bit longer, the line there. But yeah, for the most part, this came out pretty nicely. Okay, next thing, we're going to continue removing all these screws for the keyboard. Okay, it's a lot of screws. Okay, this one's kind of, oh, it came through the plastic for the backlight. There we go. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, just continue removing all these screws. Pulling up that film kind of pulled the keyboard backlight up a little bit and got the screws to go underneath. Okay, oh, this is sticking to my finger, sorry. Okay, so we got that. Got one more down here. That's a lot of screws. Okay. Got a row of 4 going down slightly at an angle. Okay, we're done with the ones that were in the adhesive. Okay, got 2 up here. Right, and we got about 3 going down here. There we go, and then we got 3 going down this side, and that should be all of them unless I missed something. Okay, hopefully there's no other tricks to this. Alright, so now we got all the screws out. Let's see if we can go ahead and lift the keyboard up. Oh, is this taping it down as well? Okay, it looks like there might be some screws hidden under this plastic as well. So let's peel this up as well. Yep, there's some hidden screws under here. Okay, so we're gonna peel that up. Okay, you only need to peel it up to get these 2 screws out. There are also the trackpad screws hidden underneath this plastic piece, so keep that in mind. Okay, so if you're going to remove the trackpad, there's 2 screws under there. And I think those are PH1 or JIS1 screws. Okay, so I think we got all the screws out now. Let's go ahead and lift this up. Did I miss something? This feels like it's stuck here. Oh, underneath this, there's another screw. Oh man, that's going to be tough to remove. So there's adhesive holding this down. So you want to be careful lifting this. This is the fingerprint sensor cable. So I'm going to try as hard as I can to not crease that cable. Okay, so we lifted that up. I'm going to try and hold it flat between my fingertips and slowly peel this up, pulling it towards myself to try and keep it flat. And there we go. Okay, hopefully now we got the last screw. Let's go ahead and lift this up. And there we go. Okay, so we got the keyboard out. There's a lot of like hairs in there, so probably they have like a cat or a dog or something. But okay, so we got the keyboard out. Of course, you do want to make sure they match. I probably should have checked that first. Looks the same, so we should be good to go. Got the keyboard backlight and everything. Okay, I was just comparing them. So they look the same. There's the keyboard model information if for some reason you need that. Okay, so there's some part numbers there. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and install the new keyboard. It is actually dusty under here, so actually I'm going to clean that out first just so we don't have that underneath the new keyboard. Alright, so I'm going to just get a toothbrush, brush it off outside, and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Alright, sorry about that. I'm back. So cleaned it up, and then I had to respond to a bunch of comments. Alright. I mean calls and texts. Anyway, so this stuff, it's kind of stuck there. It doesn't really come out. But I cleaned out the grid. So now we're going to place the replacement keyboard into place. So just get that lined up. Make sure that this goes underneath that cable and that the other two end up underneath the cable as well as underneath this black plastic tab. Okay, slowly drop that into place. Okay, seems a little off-centered, so we'll try and move that into place. Okay, I'm gonna have to put a few screws and then take a look to see, make sure everything is lined up right. So we're gonna put this screw that was underneath this cable first. Okay, and I'm gonna put these two that were underneath that black plastic second and third. Okay. We go. Wait, where'd oh. Okay. Now I have to take a look, make sure I can get these connected properly. So we're gonna get the keyboard backlight connector in. Make sure that flap is up. Put that into place, and then flip that latch back down. All right, I'm gonna get this plastic thing back over the top here. Okay, and let's go ahead and tape this back down. Okay, just like that. It looks like it still holds in place. Okay, so there is some double stick adhesive stuff here, so we'd have to take that out, and then this we'd have to fold over and then get that into the connector that way. So all right, looks like that. Okay, so I'm gonna peel these off right now. Okay, so we're just gonna peel this off. This keeps it from sticking on. They have two different models, so that's why they make it like this. They have these lines, and then depending which model, you would follow different lines. Actually, let me get more of the screws in first. I shouldn't have peeled that off yet. Let's go ahead and get the 3 screws over on this side in, and then we're going to open it up and just make sure the keyboard looks aligned properly. Okay, let's get all of those in. All right, let's go ahead now and open this up and take a look. Oh, hair's is still stuck there. Okay, so it does look lined up right, so we should be okay. Let's go ahead now and put back all the screws. Okay, so we're gonna get all these screws in, and then we're gonna stick that down. All right, it's a lot of screws. Okay. All right, let's get all the keyboard screws in. Make sure that's okay. This one up here. This one down here. This one over here. If you want, you can fast forward through this part. I'm just going to be screwing in all these tiny screws. There's not really much to say for this. Sometimes I do think of random things to add if I forgot, but yeah. You could always just put 2 times speed to watch me do this much quicker, and then if I do say something that sounds important, you can go ahead and slow it down and then listen to that as well. But yeah, my videos are somewhat designed in a way that you can kind of just follow along at the actual pace that I'm doing this. So yeah, all right. Did they cover one of the screw holes with this sticker? They might have. Let me double check there. No? Okay, I think I'm just... All right. What did I miss? 1, 2, 3. Am I missing a screw somewhere? Oops, I didn't do one down here. That's what I missed. This one is supposed to be down here. That's the other benefit of putting these screws in a pattern. You can tell when you missed a screw. Okay. All right. So a lot of times people will just throw them all into a container because they're the same type of screw. And then when you do that, you don't know where the screws came from. So a lot of times people will end up missing screws and then or throwing them out or losing them. So it's always a good idea to keep them in that kind of pattern. Okay. Almost there. Let me slide this over a little bit. There we go. Okay, hopefully my tips and tricks help you guys. This one. Right, got one more down over here underneath the keyboard or at the bottom of the keyboard. Okay. Almost done. 3 more. No, this kind of repair is a long, tedious repair. Okay. Last one. There we go. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, we got to connect the keyboard connector. Alright, I think I'm done with the PH0 or JAS0 screwdriver, so we're going to take that out. Let's go ahead and remove the sticker adhesive coating here as well. Okay, peel that off. Alright, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to actually get this connected properly first, and then I can use that to help guide where the folds are. So let's go ahead and get the keyboard connector in. Just like that. Make sure it's plugged in all the way. Okay, because once you stick that down, it's going to be very difficult to unstick it without damaging the cable. Okay, so we got that keyboard connector in place. Push that down. Okay, looks good. And now if you want, you can go ahead and fold this down, flatten it. So here you can see it's not actually going to completely follow this line. So that's why I like to do it this way. Okay, so there we go. And you can stick that down. I don't like creasing this piece too hard because sometimes if you do, it can damage the cable and then it won't work right. So be very careful. I just like push along next to it instead of creasing it down. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so that should be good. You can push a little harder to kind of just stick it in place, but there we go. All right, now let's go ahead and get the motherboard into place. Oops, zoom in a bit. Okay, motherboard, just grab it. Okay, I'm gonna have to hold it. Oh, don't forget the that one thing that that plastic film that we removed. Okay, so we're going to grab this and let's go ahead and line this up. I use these little posts back here to help line it up. Okay, am I doing that wrong? Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we got that all lined up. Get that all into place and then we're just going to lightly stick that down. You don't need to firmly attach this just in case you need to peel it back up for any reason. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead now and get the motherboard. There's some dust stuck in there, so let me just try and get that out. So now that we got this, I don't know if you can see, there's still a little dust in there, so I'm going to try and clean that out with a toothbrush. Okay. Doing both sides. Okay, let me blow this out real quick. A little bit sticky in there, so but there we go. It's a lot better. I don't know if you can see it. Not focusing. Focus, please. There we go. Okay, so anyways, we're going to drop this back into place. You do want to be careful that all these cables end up back on top, because if they are underneath, it's going to be kind of difficult to get them back out. So let's go ahead and get this into place. There's some little hair still stuck on there. Okay, gonna slowly get this into place. All right, there are little raised mounts there so that you can get it into place. The harder ones to make sure end up on top are these two cables. Okay, and then don't forget the speaker cable down here as well. Actually, the speaker one's the most difficult. Just get like a little tool to help pull it out. Oops, hopefully you can see that. And we'll slowly drop that into place. This cable went back underneath. Okay, so it's not dropping in easily, so what we're gonna have to do, we have to lift the middle slightly and then slightly push these side edges down because these things protrude a little bit. Okay, did I miss something? Something's not lining up here, right? Okay, so this edge isn't lining up right, so I need to make sure that goes up all the way. I don't know what's holding it. It's not going on all the way, so I need to kind of lift this back up again. Okay, make sure to push it all the way towards the back. Okay, I think, did we get it right this time? Okay, we got it right that time. Okay, so everything dropped into place now. Looks good. Let's go ahead now and put back all the screws. So let's see. Let's go ahead and reconnect all of these. Okay, make sure this latches up. Actually, let me zoom in to make this easier for you guys to see and then easier for you guys to follow along. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is reattach the fingerprint sensor. Make sure that flap is up. Get the connector in there. This one's a little tricky because they put a piece of tape to that keeps making that flap go back down on its own. It's hard to even tell if it went in or not because this one, there you go. Okay, the slot is kind of shorter, so. Okay, so we got that one in. Let's go ahead and work our way over to these two. Same thing, just make sure the flap is up. Get that into place. Okay, make sure it goes in straight, not at an angle. There's a little dust on there. There we go. Get that in, push that latch down. You can see the line actually lines up with the end of the flap. It's not the same with the fingerprint one. It's a little bit back, but fit well. Okay, get that in, flip that latch down. There we go. Okay, speaker connector. Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show. Let me see. I'm going to have to probably zoom out a bit. Yep. Okay, there you go. Get this lined up. Again, make sure you didn't twist it around, and then I'm going to push from both sides. There we go. Okay, now we got the charge port DC jack connector here. So we're going to get that lined up. And then pinch the two pieces together, just like that. LCD LVDS connector. Okay. We're doing construction outside, so it's kind of noisy. All right, get this lined up. And then just push it down. Clicks into place really easily. All right, don't forget this adhesive. You can stick that back down as well. Okay, just like that. All right, let's now get the fans and everything into place. So you got this fan here. Okay, I'm gonna lift this slightly to get that over, but the rest of it goes underneath. Okay, get that into place. This fan kind of clamped on this. You want to move that out of the way. There we go. Okay, get this connector, line it up, and then pinch the two pieces together. Okay, so we got that. Let's get this metal bracket in on top. So that one goes there, and then that goes there, right? Oops, sorry. Go. We're going to hold this into place, and we'll tighten this down. Make sure that it's over both of these little raised raised things that hold it into the right spot. Okay, there we go, and we'll tighten that one down. Good. Okay, let's see what's next. We got all the other screws. Let's go. Okay, so again, should be a black screw as well, but they stripped out the original one, so I'm using one of my own screws. So we're gonna put that there. Okay, that fit well. All right, we got 2 more screws up here. Forgot to message my customer, so give me a second actually. Okay, we'll get this one in. All right, give me a second, I'll be back. Okay, sorry about that, I'm back. Let's go ahead and continue putting back all these components. So don't forget the one screw that was hidden underneath the wireless card, so we'll get that one in first. Okay, let's go ahead and now get the wireless card in. Okay, just pinch the 2 together and then put that back. Again, you do have to put these back at an angle, all right? So let's go ahead and get this screw in. Interesting. Oh, okay, they put a little plastic washer to hold the screw onto this. I didn't realize that at first. So, gotta be careful with that. Get that in. Make sure that goes in right. Okay, hold that into place so it doesn't spin around. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get the remaining screws. Let's get this fan back in. Okay, line it up. Pinch the 2 connectors together. Make sure this is all lined up. Get these 2 screws in. Okay, there we go. And the final motherboard screw all the way down here. Okay, and then all that's left is to get the battery in and we'll test it out, make sure everything's working. All right, let's zoom out here. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the battery. We're gonna actually get the connector in first. Okay, get it lined up. Again, make sure you don't put it in upside down. And then we're gonna go ahead and pinch the 2 together. Just like that. Swing the battery over. Make sure it all lines up. And we'll get the 7 screws in. All right, let's go ahead and get that. You want to be very careful not to drop anything in here right now because the battery is connected and there's power running through it. So if you were to drop something conductive there, you can actually fry the computer. Okay. Again, you just put the screws where it shows those arrows. Okay. All right. And we'll get the last one in over here. Okay, so there we go. This does still have a little dust in it, so I'm going to clean that off. Okay, this thermal pad here is super thick, and it connects down there. That helps keep the heat and puts it into this. This thermal pad also pulls the heat from the SSD. So make sure those didn't fall off. Okay. All right, let's get this all back together. Oops, let's zoom out a bit. All right, so you do want to get the base in here first, and then we're gonna swing this down, get that all into place. Just for testing, I'm gonna only put in these PH1 or JS1 screws first. Once we confirm everything looks good, we can go ahead and tighten in all the T5 Torx 5 screws into place, okay? Let's get that in. All right, there we go. Let's flip this over. Okay, let's open this up. Push the power button. I see the keyboard backlight is on. Hopefully you can see that. You can actually see it in the reflection or the glare. And the laptop is starting up. So that's a good sign. Okay. I didn't see the little thing spinning, so that was kind of weird, but let's see. Could be because we disconnected everything. All right. Whoa, that's a weird background. So they got like a Windows 95 logo with Windows 10 on it. All right, so let's start this up. I don't know his pin, so I might have to assume it's gonna work. He said the 7 was an issue. It seems like it's good now. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna shut this down, and then I'm going to now put back all the screws. We're gonna put back the T5 or Torx 5 screws, but that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others. If it helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, other than that, thanks for watching. You're welcome to stay as I put back the rest of these screws. But that's pretty much it. Oh, sounds like some people are here. Okay. Wow, these screws with that thread locker is pretty tight. Alright, we've got 4 more screws at the bottom. Oh, I think someone's here for me to work on their computer. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye.